In this video, I will talk about abnormal uterine bleeding. So, what is abnormal uterine bleeding? Abnormal uterine bleeding is a bleeding from the uterus, okay, that occurs abnormally in regularity, volume, frequency, or duration in the absence of pregnancy. Okay, so what is the normal pattern? The normal pattern is menstrual cycle on an average is 28 days. Okay, it can range from 21 to 35 days. If it is less than 21 days, then it is abnormal, and if it is more than 35 days, then also it is abnormal. Less than 35, more than 35 days is oligomenorrhea, and less than 21 days cycle is polymenorrhea. Okay, then if we talk about the volume, mostly normal volume loss is 35 ml. Okay, if it is more than 80 ml, then it is abnormal. Okay, so these are the normal range you should remember, and you should also remember when you call abnormal uterine bleeding when menstrual bleeding is more than 80 ml per cycle, and when there is increased or decreased frequency of the cycle, and also when there is bleeding in between the periods, okay, which is known as metrorrhagia. This is menorrhagia. Okay, this is poly and oligomenorrhea. So these are the terms you should remember. Now, what are the causes of abnormal uterine bleeding? Now, this abnormal uterine bleeding causes, there are so many causes, but age wise it is different. So if you remember that way, then it will be easy for you to diagnose the patient according to age. For example, if the female is 13 to 18 years of age, we know that at around 13 years menarche starts. Okay, so when the menarche start, hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis is still immature. Okay, so it matures with time. It usually takes 2 years, around 2 years. So during this period, what the patient have is anovulatory cycle. So due to this anovulatory cycle, there is a estrogen excess. Okay, there is a increased proliferation phase. Okay, and secretory phase is decreased. So because of this, there is abnormal bleeding. Okay, and heavy bleeding, and cycle is not regular. But with time, this is normal. Okay, this is absolutely normal condition. But with time, patient will have a normal menstrual cycle, because as the time goes by, this hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis matures. Okay, so we should keep this in mind. 13 years of age. Now 19 to 39 years of age, during this period patient can have PCOS. Okay, patient can have a primary premature ovarian failure. Then they can also have fibroids. Okay, they can have polyps. So because of this conditions, they can have adenomyosis. Because of this condition, they can have bleeding. So according to this age, we need to keep this DD in our mind, and we should rule out this diseases and come to the diagnosis. Then if we take more than 40 years, now as the age increases, there are chances of cancer. Okay, so the patient may be suffering from endometrial hyperplasia. Okay, they can also develop cancer if this is not treated. They can develop endometrial cancer. Okay, there can be ovarian cancer. Okay, cervical cancer. So this all can lead to this abnormal bleeding. So according to the age, we should keep this in mind. Okay, so this I have explained you according to ages. Now we will talk about the causes in general. Okay, there are structural causes and there are non-structural causes. So what are the structural causes? Polyp, you can remember this by palm. Okay, this is a general mnemonic which is made. polyp, adenomyosis, leiomyoma, that is nothing but the fibroid, then malignancy and hypoplasia. Now in non-structured causes, we have this term coin, okay, C for coagulopathy, then ovulatory dysfunction, endometrial causes, iatrogenic, like after giving anticoagulants or some instrumentation like hysteroscopy, all that, okay, dilatation in curettage, and not yet classified, okay, we don't know the cause. When we don't know the cause, we say that it is not yet classified. So when the patient, okay, comes to us with abnormal uterine bleeding, what we need to do is we need to take their history, okay, because history will play the critical part in this situation. We need to ask the patient age. I have explained you what is the age and according what are the disease which causes abnormal uterine bleeding. Then we should ask them associated symptoms, like if patient is having hirsutism, acanthosis nigricans, okay, then which is this is the hyperestrogenic stage which is seen in PCOS, okay, irregular bleeding. Then according to this symptom, we can just make our provisional diagnosis as PCOS, okay. Then if the patient complains of hot flushes, okay, patient age is more than 45 years, patient complains of hot flushes, then it is mostly patient is in menopause, and patient may have endometrial hyperplasia or cancer, and we need to rule out this also. Then many a times patient comes with bleeding disorders, like patient will have bruises, okay, so this type of patient can be suffering from coagulopathy. So in this way we need to rule out the diseases according to the history. Then we can also ask their medicine history, okay, like if they are taking any anticoagulants, or patient is on anticoagulants, or patient is taking NSAIDs, then also they can suffer from this abnormal bleeding, okay. Then we can do physical examination. We can do per speculum examination, okay, we through which we can find out that if there is any cervical growth, or cervical ectopy, etc. So in this way we can come to the diagnosis. Now what are the investigations that can be done is CBC, APTT, PT for bleeding disorders. We can do thyroid function test, because a patient with hyper or hypothyroidism also suffers from this abnormal bleeding, and this is very common. So please keep this in mind, because this can help you in your clinical practice. We can check prolactin, because patient can have prolactinoma, and because of that also there can be abnormal uterine bleeding. Then we can check for FSH for seeing the ovarian reserve, okay, because premature ovarian failure can also result in abnormal bleeding. Then we can do USG. In USG we can rule out fibroid, polyps, etc. Then MRI is also done, but this is mostly done for adenomyosis and all that. But USG is the is the most investigation of choice, I should say, because this is done every time patient comes with abnormal uterine bleeding. So now the treatment part. So how we do the treatment is, we see whether the patient is having any risk for malignancy or not, okay. If patient doesn't have risk of malignancy is not there, patient is young, then we try medical treatment. And if the patient is more than 45 years of age, or patient has a risk of malignancy, okay, if there is a family history, or patient suffering from syndromes like Lynch syndrome, okay, so we can go for further investigation like endometrial biopsy. We need to take this, and if it comes out to be normal, then we try medical treatment. Otherwise we need to do hysterectomy, okay, if there's a risk of malignancy. Okay, and if patient has completed her family, mostly usually more than 45 years means patient has already completed her family, and so we the treatment of choice will be hysterectomy in this condition. Okay, now in medical treatment we can give OC pills, okay, we can give progesterone, because what this will do is this will normalize the menstrual cycle, and this will prevent abnormal uterine bleeding. We can give NSAIDs, okay, if patient has pain, because mostly what happens in abnormal uterine bleeding, patient for example patient may be having endometrioma, okay, so patient will suffer pain. Then when patient is having fibroid, then also this may be painful during menses, so we give them NSAIDs, okay, according to their symptoms. So yeah, this is the management. Now if patient doesn't respond to this, then we can go for surgical options, but otherwise we do medical treatment. If there is a polyp, okay, now the treatment depends on the condition. For example, if there is a polyp, okay, imagine this is a polyp, then we will do polypectomy. Okay, if there is a fibroid, okay, if it is larger in size, symptomatic, then we do myomectomy. Okay, if it is if it is severely enlarged, okay, if uterus is severely enlarged because of this uh, fibroid, then we can also do hysterectomy. So according to the situations we go for the treatment, but we first, the protocol is we try to preserve the uterus, okay, as far as we it is possible. Otherwise we do hysterectomy, and hysterectomy is only done if the patient has completed her family, okay. If there is a cancer, then only we first go for hysterectomy. Otherwise we try medical treatment first, and then we go for hysterectomy. So yeah, that's all for this video.